Now I'm making a video. Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah. But you guys aren't in it because that would be that'd be illegal. Yeah. Hit the notification bell. Okay. So you should have something like this. Something like your masses entered into the data table, the distance that you went, and then the time that it took to go that distance. This is actually an old one. This is from one of my previous classes, and so these are the names of some of my previous students. Maybe. You have to figure out the weight. Most of you can do this no problem, but I want to show you how you can use a computer to make your life way easier. So, here, all right, actually let me do this here. So to figure out the weight, what equation would we use? Force equals what? Mass times, right, acceleration from gravity. So this would be F equals mg, and that's what we would do to solve this. And I know that you can all do this on paper. You're all capable of multiplying two numbers together. That's no big deal. However, do you want to do that 6 times for each person in your group? I mean, no. Could you do it? Sure. It would probably take you about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. But still, you can do it faster than that. You can do it in about 30 seconds. Watch. Yeah, it'll do it for you. So what Sheets is really cool for is doing things, doing repeated calculations for you. So the way to do that is I'm going to copy this data chart that I made, and I'm going to hit Control-C, and I'm going to go over to my new Sheets document, and I'm going to paste it over here. So it shows up like that. And then I'm going to do some editing on here. So I want to find the weight first. Weight is force equals mass times the acceleration from gravity, right? Mass times the acceleration from gravity. So the way you do calculations on Sheets is you have to tell it what the numbers are that you want it to multiply or divide or add or subtract. Since the formula for weight is mass times acceleration from gravity, and the mass is right here in this column, I can use that to tell Sheets what to do. So the way I tell Sheets to do math is in the column where I want it to do math, I type an equals sign. So I'm going to put an equals sign right here. That lets Sheets know that I'm about to put an equation in there, and I'm going to ask it to solve it. Okay, I've said it about 5 times now. What's the equation for weight? Mass times the acceleration from gravity. Where's the mass for Patty? Where's Patty's mass? Yeah, and so there's a couple ways to do this, a couple ways to tell Sheets to use this mass. I can have the cursor blinking here next to the equal sign, and I can actually click on the cell, and notice what happens. What did it put in here?
B4.
B4. All right, it put B4 right here. I could have also typed in B4. Why B4? Yeah, exactly. It's in row 4 and column B. And actually better to say it in the order that it's written. It's in column B and row 4. All right? That's called a cell. It's called a cell. And so if you tell Sheets that the information is in this cell, it knows what number to put. And you can see that the number actually pops up here, so you can confirm that you have the right one. All right, I want to multiply the info in cell B4 by what number? 9.8. So I hit multiply. The multiply button is the little asterisk. So you hit shift and then the 8 key, little asterisk shows up, and then I'm going to multiply by 9.8. I hit enter, and there's my answer. Now, that actually took longer for us to do than it would have taken for you to do it on a piece of paper with a calculator, right? Right? It took longer. However, if you were to do this again, it would take less time. But I don't want you to type it in every time. That's the beauty of Excel and Sheets. If I click on the box where I just did the work, a couple things happen. One, it shows me the equation up here in this little FX bar. All right, so the equation is here. And what I can do, since this is a repeatable problem where you're going to do the same thing every time, you're always going to multiply by 9.8. You're just going to use a different mass. I can click on this little blue square. Do you see the little blue square in the corner? See my cursor?
Yeah.
You see my cursor? Watch what happens when I put it on the little blue square. what happens?
Pull it down.
Pull it down, you get all the energy.
Right. So it turns into a little plus sign, and that tells me that if I click and hold and then drag down, hopefully you can see the little hash lines starting to show up. If I drag down and I let go right here at Parker's row, look what happens. Right? So what just happened there? If I click on each of these, you can see the equation. Remember this one for Patty was B4 times 9.8? What should this one be? B what?
B5.
B5. And then this one's B6, and this one is B7. You're not even looking. Do you know how to do it? You know how to do all these? Okay, good. So it just did all the math for me. I can do the exact same thing for the work. What's the equation for work? Force times displacement times the, and remember the cosine of 0, it's always going to be the cosine of 0 for this problem. So it's just force times displacement, right? So look, do we have the force already?
Yeah.
Where? Which column?
2.
C, right? The weight is the force. So if I wanted to figure out the work done by Patty, I would take her weight. What do I have to put in here first to tell it to do math? Equals sign. I would take her weight. Should I type in the number? I could click on it or type in C4. And then what do I have to do with that? How do I figure out work?
Control 8.
All right, shift 8, right? So times, right, with the asterisk. And then what am I going to multiply by?
That big number.
The distance, right? And the distance is in which column? D. D what?
4.
D4. Hit enter. Gives me an answer. I click on that little blue square, drag it down, and boom. I've got all the work for everybody. Can you see that this makes life a lot easier?
Yeah.
Right? So once you get the hang of it, you can do this all the time for, you know, a project where you have to do some kind of research, or for, you know, some kind of science class where you have to take some data from a lab and crunch numbers. It's way better than doing the same problem 10 times, right? You just do it once, and then you have the computer repeat it for you. You can do the same thing for the power, right? Power is work divided by time. And you can do the same thing here, okay? So do that. Take a few minutes to do that, and then the next thing we'll do is look at how to make a graph out of all this. All right?